Every year, the NBA opens the doors to some of the best and most exciting young prospects of the basketball world. However, while each draft usually includes a group of players who are expected to have productive seasons right out of the gates, few of them are surrounded by the hype of potentially being a generational player. The last time such a thing took place, LeBron James was selected by the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2003. Since then, a lot of incredibly talented players came into the league and turned into superstars, but none of them received staggering before playing their first game as professionals. But that trend came to an end last year when Zion Williamson decided to declare for the draft. The former Blue Devil was regarded as the next young superstar. But while his presence turned the Pelicans into one of the most intriguing teams in the league, multiple factors stopped Williamson from having the dominating season the world was waiting for from him. But now, more than a year after his selection in the draft, everything seems to be in place for his takeover to begin. Question is, will he be able to do it? Welcome to Courtside. Today, we'll take a look at the future of Zion, one of the most unique players in the league. Way before the 2019 draft ceremony took place, there were no doubts about who was going to be selected with the first overall pick. At the moment, the only question was where Zion would end up playing. But after everything was set and done, New Orleans emerged as the winner of the lottery, thus earning the right to choose the young star. That way, the Pelicans were suddenly capable of adding a talented prospect who could replace Anthony Davis as the cornerstone of the franchise. And while considering that a rookie could have the same impact as a superstar during his first season as a professional could have been seen as naive, there were more than enough reasons to be excited about him. During his early years as a basketball player, Williamson stood out for his physicality and the way he was able to dominate opposing players seamlessly. After all, he became famous for the many dunks he put up during his high school career. However, that wasn't the only impressive thing about him. Unlike most players with his size, Zion was a player with outstanding athleticism as he was capable of outrunning most players and also had an excellent leaping ability that helped him become a lob threat and a talented rebounder, especially on the offensive end. In other words, his body had some natural gifts that hadn't been seen in a player before. And to make things even better, he had also shown the ability to put up impressive numbers and score at a high level whenever it was required of him. So it was reasonable for people to be excited about such a unique and talented player, and everyone was eager to see what he would be able to do as a professional. But unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to play his best basketball during his rookie season. Before the start of last season, he suffered an injury that forced him to miss all of his team's games until late January. And then, after making his debut, a few other issues related to his health limited his availability to only 24 games while playing an average of almost 28 minutes per game. His absence had a clear impact on the way the Pelicans performed. Without him, they played like one of the worst teams in the league, despite counting with other talented pieces such as Drew Holiday and Brandon Ingram. New Orleans' record was of just 17-27 throughout its first 44 games, and the team went through a stretch in which it lost 13 games in a row. So at the moment, there weren't too many reasons to be optimistic, even for those who expected Zion's debut to make things better. However, the talented rookie would prove otherwise. After making his debut on January 22nd, Williamson started putting together a series of outstanding performances despite having a minutes restriction during most games. His presence helped the Pelicans play better as a unit, as they posted a 10-9 record between Zion's first game and the suspension of the season, and that helped them recover the hope of making a late playoff push, considering they had one of the easiest remaining schedules in the league. Therefore, by the time the season was resumed inside the Orlando bubble, most people expected New Orleans to be one of the most competitive teams among the lower seeds in the Western Conference. But once again, the talented rookie was limited, and the organization suffered the consequences of his absence. Williamson had to miss the first few weeks of activity inside Disney World because of a family matter and was unable to establish a playing rhythm before the seeding game started. So when he made his return, he couldn't play at his best, and the team decided to put a restriction to his minutes once again instead of prioritizing a possible playoff appearance. The result was a disappointing 2-6 record that quickly eliminated them from contention. But now that it's been almost 4 months since the Pelicans played a basketball game, many questions are surrounding their future in the short term, and most of them have to do with the explosive forward. Heading into the next season, the most pressing concern regarding Zion will be his health and availability. Due to his immense size, he's susceptible to multiple injuries, especially in his legs, and that's been one of the biggest questions surrounding the career of the talented forward. During his time with Duke, he suffered a grade 1 knee sprain after his foot ripped through his shoe, and the whole basketball world gasped in concern, showing how worrisome leg injuries would be during his career. Then, a few months after being drafted, the number 1 pick tore his meniscus during a preseason game, once again raising the alarms on his health and letting the Pelicans know they would have to take a careful approach with the body of who they expect will become the franchise player. The injury not only took Williamson out of most of the Pelicans' games during last season, but it also messed with his game. While the rookie was capable of filling the stat sheet and making some incredible plays, it was evident he had trouble with keeping his energy after a few minutes on the court, and his play on the defensive end often left a lot to be desired. That was also the reason why the team decided to impose a minutes restriction on him. That way he would steadily be able to regain his playing form while also adapting to the way the game is played at the pro level. Still, it wasn't easy for the rookie, and while he understood it was a decision that tried to preserve his body for the future, he admitted feeling frustrated with not being able to play as much as he'd have wanted to. But there's a chance that won't be a reason for concern when the next season gets going in a few weeks, and it's safe to say the Pelicans are making everything possible to ensure that will be the case, since they may go through another disappointing season if he's unavailable for more than half of the games. The first glance we had about it came shortly before the seeding game started. Somehow Zion managed to use the break to add a lot of muscle to his body while also losing some weight. His training during the suspension of the season allowed him to get into the best shape of his professional career. And he also mentioned how he had been working with the team to strengthen the lower part of his body so he could avoid further injuries in the future. In other words, if he continues to focus on being in good shape and the Pelicans find a way to make his body more resistant to injury without losing the physical qualities that make him a dominant player, there's no reason to believe Zion wouldn't enjoy a mostly healthy and successful career. And that should make fans in New Orleans excited. After all, even after he missed most of his rookie season and played with a minutes restriction while also being out of shape, he was able to put up electrifying performances that translated into team success. In fact, throughout 24 games, he managed to produce numbers similar to those of an all-star. And along the way, he established multiple records for a player in his rookie season. And of course, the Pelicans were able to play better with him on the court. Along with Lonzo Ball, Ingram, Derek Favors, and Drew Holiday, Williamson was part of one of the best five-man units in the league. Also, according to advanced metrics, once he made his debut, New Orleans played like a 53-win team. And while 53 wins could seem like a stretch, the truth is that it's easy to see the Pelicans as a competitive team if they're able to surround Zion and Brandon with solid role players that fill the team's needs. In that regard, the first move by the franchise was the hiring of Stan Van Gundy as the new head coach. Van Gundy is a defensive specialist that's helped big men like Dwight Howard and Andre Drummond emerge as star players in the league. He's also talked about the possibility of Zion not being limited by a position, mentioning how he would like to use the talented forward in ways that allow him to use the most out of his potential. That should be good news for Zion and the Pelicans. He recently opened up about how he wasn't able to play as he would have liked to, in part because he was afraid of being the rookie that messes up. And if Van Gundy helps him play at his best on the defensive end, it's easy to see him evolving into an elite defensive player also, something that would be of great help for the team. Last but not least, there's the roster of the team. As currently built, some would say the additions made by the front office could affect the potential of the squad, and especially of Williamson. With Holiday out and Eric Bledsoe and Steven Adams in, the Pelicans will have less shooting and, in consequence, will have less space to allow Zion to operate close to the basket. However, the team should enjoy a noticeable improvement on defense, especially considering Van Gundy will be the one in charge of making the pieces work together. GM David Griffin has also talked about the opportunity to have a dominating screen game with Adams and Williamson. New Orleans may have one of the most intimidating front courts in the league. Their success may depend on whether they're capable of adding enough shooters or at least empowering the ones they already have. If they're able to do that, Zion should also be able to dominate inside. All in all, despite having an irregular rookie season, Zion was able to have an immediate impact on a team that was nowhere near where it expected to be. In a short period, he showed the world why he was selected with the first overall pick and brought hope to New Orleans. Now, as a new season gets closer, he should be making all the necessary adjustments to enjoy a healthy season. If he does, the Pelicans could take a step forward and return to the playoffs in what should be the first of many postseason appearances to come. But now, what are your thoughts about Williamson heading into his second season? Do you believe he'll be able to remain healthy this year? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel so that we can bring you more NBA content. We are Courtside.